The ending of Netflix's The Tearsmith lets Rigel and Nika find some happiness, facing the ghosts of their past and successfully beating them. Based on the international bestseller by Aaron Doom, The Tearsmith intertwines Nika and Rigel's present with their memories, delivering a heartbreaking story of the hurdles the two had to face along with their friends at the orphanage. Centering on Rigel and Nika, finally far from the abuse they were subjected to at Sunny Creek Orphanage, The Tearsmith's ending manages to let them come to terms with the consequences of their stay there before they can embrace their happiness. While The Tearsmith could be perceived just as much as a story about Rigel and Nika acclimatizing themselves to their new life with foster parents Anna and Norman as a tormented and forbidden love story between the teenagers, its ending clearly highlights the story's villain, delivering justice. With the perpetrator finally revealed as such to the eyes of everyone, not just the children at the orphanage known as Grave, Rigel, Nika and Adeline can finally move on. By interweaving the Tearsmith fable and the protagonist stories, The Tearsmith's ending offers a happy conclusion to Rigel and Nika's tragic story. Rigel's fate and choice to leave the Milligans explained. Rigel left the Milligans because he wanted Nika to live her dream without him. Lionel's disgust at the bond between Nika and Rigel and Nika's rejection of him prompted him to almost run them over in The Tearsmith's ending, with the two forced to jump off the bridge to escape him. The jump didn't kill them, but Rigel's decision to reject the adoption put him back under Margaret's care, resulting in Nika being unable to visit him at the hospital, as Margaret kept him isolated from all. Rigel finally awakened from the coma only after the end of Margaret's trial, whose outcome rid them of Margaret's clutch and her abusive methods. Rigel's decision to leave the Milligans and reject the adoption greatly influenced his fate at the hospital, as his stay with the Milligans was only a trial and he was still under the care of the orphanage. However, Rigel had only decided to let Anna and Norman foster him because he wanted to follow Nika, having always been in love with her. Afraid that he would have only hurt her dream, Rigel rejected the adoption so that Nika could have the family she always dreamed of away from him, believing himself as bad as everyone thought him to be. Why Nika chose to testify against Margaret. Rigel's incident influenced her into taking a stand against Margaret. Katerina Farioli as Nika Dover in The Tearsmith. Nika adamantly rejected Adeline's request to testify against Margaret when her friend broached the idea after Rigel's birthday party, making her choice to do so in The Tearsmith's ending entirely unexpected. After Nika had made Margaret's rules of order, respect and obedience hers, she always tried not to raise attention to herself considering Margaret targeted her the most among the Tearsmith's characters, and she continued to do so even after Anna and Norman welcomed her into their home. Testifying meant coming clean about all the abuse Nika was subjected to at the orphanage, making it a big risk for her. However, the timing of Rigel going back to Margaret's care right after the incident that put him in a coma essentially separated him from Nika. Not being able to stay close to Rigel in his toughest time emboldened Nika, convincing her to finally tell the truth about Margaret, making herself vulnerable but also courageous enough to challenge Margaret's version of the story. Being removed from Rigel's side finally showed her that she had to face Margaret, as testifying against her could have made it impossible for Margaret to hurt anyone else. Who is the Tearsmith? The orphanage myth explained. The bedtime story helped Nika and Adeline deal with the orphanage evils. Sabrina Paravicini as Margaret in The Tearsmith. The figure of the maker of tears reappears throughout The Tearsmith after the fable about him is retold by Nika via voiceover at the Netflix teen melodrama's beginning. Nika introduced the Tearsmith's figure as that of a savior who gave people devoid of emotions the chance to cry, but her flashbacks also showed how the other children would use him as a scarecrow of sorts, whose arrival, motivated by bad behavior, others should have feared. As Margaret discouraged public expressions of emotions, Nika saw the Tearsmith as something hopeful, reminding the orphanage children what it meant to feel.